Senator, welcome.
Good to be with you, Tom.
Great to have you with us. On the Budget Committee, I know there's a lot going on there, and it seems that the Republicans are drumming the war drums. What's on your mind?
I am
about
the
these
ranking
things?
member on the Budget Committee, meaning that as an independent, I caucus with the Democrats, and I am the lead person on the Democratic side. And this week, the Republicans, both in the House and the Senate, brought forth their proposed budgets. Yesterday, after 6-7 hours of debate, the Senate Budget Committee voted out by a party line vote, 12-10. The Republican budget goes to the floor on Monday, and it'll be debated there all week. Tom, what a federal budget is about is it's not an appropriations bill where money goes directly into a particular agency, but it lays the blueprint for where money goes. It tells the appropriating committees that you have this much money to spend. So it plays a very important role in establishing national priorities. And not surprisingly, what the Republican budget in the House and in the Senate is about is laying the groundwork for more tax breaks for the people who need it the least and cuts in programs for people who need those programs the most. You know, when you talk about a budget, and I think in a sense every family in America, every business in America looks at a budget and you say, well, what are my needs? Where should I put my money? Where should I save money? If you look at what's going on in America today, I think most of us understand that the middle class over the last 40 years has been disappearing. In state after state, people are working longer hours for low wages. Parents are wondering how they're going to be able to send their kids to college or provide child care for their little ones. You have older workers wondering about how they're going to be able to retire with dignity. That is the playing field for ordinary Americans. They're struggling. And what the Republican budget says to those people who are struggling, we're going to make your life a little bit harder. If you're having trouble feeding your family, we're going to cut back on food stamps and other nutrition programs. If you are having difficulty saving up to go to college, we're going to cut back on Pell Grants. If you are living on Medicare, we're going to tighten that up and ask you perhaps to pay some more. So the entire Republican budget is geared toward saving money by going after the programs that the middle class and working families of this country depend upon. On the other hand, at a time when the wealthiest people are doing phenomenally well and corporate profits are exploding, what the Republican budget says, well, the rich are not quite rich enough, and we'll lay the groundwork for lowering individual tax rates for the 1% and corporate tax rates as well. So I have described their budget as a budget based on the Robin Hood principle in reverse. They're taking from the poor and working families and giving to the wealthy and large corporations. But then on top of all of that, what the Republicans are saying is, you know, we are spending somewhere around $600 billion a year on the military, more than the next 9 countries combined. We have spent between $3 and $6 trillion, or will spend, fighting the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and taking care of the veterans who fought those wars. But that's not enough. We need to be spending even more on the military. And one of the interesting aspects of the committee debate yesterday was an amendment that asked for another $38 billion for the military to be off budget, to be part of what's called the Overseas Contingency Account, which is not part of the overall budget. It's emergency funding. So our Republicans who lecture the American people every day about how we have to cut back on Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and education and nutrition and infrastructure, all the important things, when it comes to spending money on the military, it's not a problem, and we don't have to worry about the deficit. So all of that leads me to two conclusions, which worry me in both instances. Number one, I have the feeling, based on this letter that 47 Republicans wrote to the Ayatollah, that they really do not want an agreement with Iran in which Iran ceases to have the ability to create nuclear weapons. Some of them, at least, would prefer a war with Iran. And I think they also would prefer a war with ISIS. So after two disastrous wars, which have cost us some 67 young Americans, have led to 500,000 coming home with PTSD or TBI, led to the cost of between $3 and $6 trillion by the time we take care of the last veteran. Apparently, these guys want more. Two wars is not enough, and maybe we can get a third war, maybe even a fourth war. And it's not clear, but my guess is they don't intend to pay for those wars either. Just add it on to the deficit, and then when the deficit goes up, we can talk about the absolute need to cut Social Security and Medicare with even more stringent tone. So that is where the budget debate was. It will be on the floor, as I said, Monday, and we'll see what happens. But I would hope that the president gets out his veto pen and makes sure that when this budget is converted into appropriations bills, that he makes certain that the Republican ideas do not prevail.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so the process here is the Republicans put forward basically a statement of intent.
Well, it's more than that. It's more than intent and goals. It is that, but it is also a real firm dollar amount as to how much the United States government can spend. Mm-hmm. What it's like if I say to you, okay, you got $100, and that's all you can spend, but you determine how that 100 is spent.
I see.
But if I say you got 120, well, you have more money to play with. Or if I say 80, you have less money to play with.
Right.
So what they are saying is we want less money available for the needs of working families and the middle class. We want more money available for the upper class. We want more money available for the military.
Right.
So they lay the groundwork, and then the committees fill in the blanks.
So during the early years of President Obama's presidency, as I recall, we had a number of years there where there was no budget. Congress couldn't come to one. Right. Is that a possibility? And if so, what happens? Do we just roll over last year's budget?
There will be a budget. I think it'll be a bad budget. But I think the Republicans now control both houses, and I think they will come up with a budget. But at the end of the day, this budget gets converted into real legislation as to how much money we spend on defense, how much money we spend on food stamps, how much money we spend on education, how much money we spend on this, that, and the other thing. So the Republican, and that's where we are now. The alternative budget, in a sense, the proposals that I and other members of the Democratic caucus brought forward were very, very different. Our goals were at a time when real unemployment is around 11%, and youth unemployment is somewhere around 17%, and African-American youth unemployment is much higher than that. We said there's a real need now to create millions of decent-paying jobs, and the best way to do that is to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. I offered that amendment. We didn't get one Republican vote in support of it.
That makes me crazy.